What is up, everyone? Hello, hello, hello. Hope you can hear me. Holly got raptured. Sorry. She's getting a piece of toast. Look at all these sweeties in here. Look at our dumb dog that's barking. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining the Mega Live stream. Give a little thumbs up in that thumbs up thing if you can hear me and we're coming through loud and clear. Oh, awesome. Hey, Leon. Welcome to new folks especially. This is where we improvise an episode of Mega based on your suggestions. And we also play bingo. So let me see here real quick. Sorry, we're a little behind the 8 ball today. But I will I'll throw a bingo link here and you can play along. And if you get a bingo, if you're the first person to get bingo, then you can win a climax pin. And those look like this. They're very cool. Sorry, we're so backlit today. But would it be possible to get the bingo link in the Discord? Yes, it would be. If you're in the Discord, I will put that in the general chat right now. And I will also put it in the live stream, thread. So just a little bit of housekeeping. The way this works is we get some suggestions throughout the week from our Patreon community. If you're not a Patreon member, it is a great time to join because we are trying to get to 420 paid members. And when we do that, we're going to do a Getting Mega with High stream. And if you don't know what that means, you lived a sheltered life. And let's see where we're at with the Patreon right now. We are at 415. So we need 5 more folks. We're trickling in. We're getting close. And so I would hope that that would happen in the month of November. So if we get 5 people, we're going to get stoned and try to improvise as our characters. There's Holly.
Hi, friends.
And this is going to be very fun. So I might have to quarantine that in. You want to give her a couple treats?
She's not taking treats.
Oh yeah, hey everyone, vote. And vote for whomever you want, but if you want to vote for Trump, the election's on November 13th. And
Greg, don't be as bad as them.
Holly just said, don't be as bad as them.
I just learned from watching the new Gladiator that you can't fix your injury by doing the same thing that injured you. No. Actually, I think I learned that from English teacher.
The English patient. Oh,
that's good. That show.
English teachers was really
it was
good.
really that was good.
Oh, thank you, Leon. Just joined the Patreon to be a part of that high stream. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
we were just on the Instagram telling people about this live stream, and we were having funny memories of singing in church in contemporary service. And I got to tell you,
and blended service.
God. And I do remember I went to a really you're going to eat that toast right into the mic. I do remember a service. Well, it was a big deal to have a contemporary service at my church because my church was built in 1740 or something, and it was this little old country Presbyterian church. And so when they finally started doing a contemporary 8 a.m. contemporary service, first off, it was at 8 a.m. So now we had to get up 2 hours. We had to get 2 hours earlier because my mom wanted to go to contemporary service. And the only thing that made it really contemporary was this no organ, and it was guitar. And
switch out one instrument.
Yeah, and my mom signed up to sing Kathy Mattea's "From a Distance," and I probably was like 12, just like the perfect time to not be wanting your mom to do anything in public. So at the age of 12 was just like sinking lower and lower in my seat as my mom belted From a Distance by Kathy Mattea. And that, my folks, is called contemporary worship. That's called the contemporary tragedy.
No, but sorry, ASMR to. I'm sorry, I'm so hungry.
You can't. There might be what's it called? Misophonia.
I'm
A
so sorry if one
misophoniac.
of you. But Greg, could you I was gonna never mind. Abort. I'm changing tactics.
Okay. Holly went and saw an amazing concert last night.
Oh my gosh. Transcendent. And I can't believe how much I needed it spiritually or mentally or emotionally. But went and saw Joni Mitchell at the Bowl last night. Walked over with a friend of mine. We can walk there from our house, which is kind of magical. Like for all the real things we hate about living in this neighborhood, the Bowl is really special. And I don't know the story in great detail, but my friend Sarah was telling me a little bit about the story where Joni Mitchell had who is 80 years old. She had a aneurysm, and I think she
Right.
was like in really steep decline. She was like not doing well. And Brandy Carlisle and Joni Mitchell was like in retirement, and Brandy Carlisle kept going over to her house as she was in this like rapid decline, and she started singing Joni Mitchell's songs to Joni. And then she would invite other musicians like the girls from Lucius and all these different musicians that are around, and they would go over and sing Joni songs to Joni, and like basically like through this loving act kind of like rehabilitated her. Those are my
So
words,
great.
not. But and Brandy Carlisle brought Joni out of retirement, and she put on a show last night at the Bowl that was, I mean, it's like take every concert you've ever been to and like eat it like shrimp cocktail and then barf it out your mouth and shit it out your ass. And that's every concert you've ever seen besides this one.
I think that's kind of a rude way to
was
tell everyone they've never
transcendent.
been to a good concert.
It's rude to tell them that they've been like shitting. They've been shitting out their mouths and thinking it's been fun.
Well, we've got a quorum. Some are gathered in his name here, and
so we got to we're at 416. We're
we're at
people.
416. So let's say 4 more people, and we do that. Getting Mega with High Stream, and that will just be for Patreon. It won't be for the general public. And
you're gonna join us, right? You're all gonna do your whatever your indulgence is, and then we're all gonna
and you're all gonna do whatever you do.
whatever you have to do to get through the day.
So let's see. Holly, do you want to give us some of the things that we picked from the Patreon?
Y'all left us great suggestions. So the suggestions for today's improv are: Pastor Steve announces that the tithing rate is now 10.8%.
Okay, that's great.
Somebody wants an update on Hallie's dogs, but asks that Hallie accidentally call them dongs.
Okay.
How would Hallie feel if one of her daughters wanted to visit Ted in Poland over an upcoming school break? Maybe the daughter works to pay for the trip by her pipe fitting job. So I guess we know which daughter.
Wait, so we need to be a little strategic about the TED timeline because we did TED last week.
We just did we did an opener on a weekend episode
for next week, and that's really it's a really funny opener. So
that's not out yet. I get lost in where we are in the timeline. Baby.
Do any of Hallie's daughters like boys? That's a good question. And
I think she has one like ultra femme one. Not that means like a female likes boys, But we do know she has an ultra femme girl who likes femme stuff. And then we know the pipe fitter that's always hanging out with femme.
Don't try to
Brandy.
count them.
Yeah, that's true. We don't want to count them. And I mean, but I think I'll have to ask y'all, like, we know certain, yeah, we don't want to ever get to where it's too close to knowing the actual number. I have a red string line board. That's so great. What I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what we need. And we want it to always be a mystery. But we know there is a femme one, and we know there is the one who keeps shaving her hair high and tight or doing a bowl cut and got certified in the what is it? What is she in?
Pipe Fitters Union.
Is it pipe fitters? But also, wasn't it welding?
Welders Union.
She's a welder. Yeah. There are infinite daughters. Hallie has a baby who's around 7. Oh, she has young ones. Okay, yeah. This Kristen only has one daughter. Oh my gosh, what if it was only one daughter? What if it's only one daughter, Greg?
It's definitely not one daughter.
I'm really, that would be fun though. That would be a fun twist. Okay. And then did I get through these?
Apologies.
Yeah,
Having an elderly dog.
Maybe the pipe fitting daughter is not attracted to Ted, but maybe they became like super tight.
Right. Yeah, we could do something with that. Having an elderly dog is kind of just like having your grumpy grandmother yell at you from across the room and you just don't know what she's talking about.
It's a challenge. What did she want?
I guess water, but then I gave her water and she drank some of it and then got up and glared at me and walked away.
At least she can get up. And then okay, and then is Twin Hills considering an 8 a.m. traditional service?
That's really funny.
With hymns and hymn books.
That's
led
great.
by a nice middle-aged lady playing a slightly out of tune piano, a 10-minute sermon, and then the faithful scoot right out for coffee and donuts.
Okay, got it.
Seekers will say, yeah, this is church. Do Hallie and Gray think it'll fly?
This is funny. Your daughter taught Ted welding pipe fitting, which you were relieved by because you thought they might have been getting up to no good. That's actually really funny. Yeah. Wait, is that something we've said or is this a suggestion? Because I do think that would be great if Hallie's really trying to had encouraged Ted and her daughter.
Like maybe,
or maybe there's a new guy since Ted's back in Poland.
Maybe the pipe fitter union daughter, like they got really tight with Ted, like they're super good friends, and yeah, if she taught him welding.
What if it's not Ted? What if the pipe fitter daughter is finally hanging out with a guy, and you're like so relieved, and it turns out to be it's just a super butch female, and you're like finally she's hanging out with a guy.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
That's great.
Okay. And then okay.
Yeah, they are each other's wing people when they go to pick up babes.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Okay. And then the last one is one of Hallie's favorite places, like a restaurant or where are the places Hallie loves? She loves Old Country Buffet. She goes back and forth between Don Protini's and Old Country Buffet. And I think Old Country Buffet is Hallie's place where she goes when she's like trying to be alone and like not with all her brood and her husband who just does nothing but ignore her. But so the question is, what if one of her favorite places, clothing store, deli, whatever, has added pronouns to their name tags? Like, what would this do to Hallie? See, this is where I get scared though, because Hallie says such terrible things around this stuff. And I hate saying it. It hurts my heart. But also it pisses people off. Like this week, we lost a Patreon person because of the Sydney Sweeney stuff. That I wasn't being body positive by the things Hallie said about Sydney Sweeney. And
Hallie's not body positive.
Hallie's not body positive. Like, because obviously you have to, it's all part and parcel of like, I mean, capitalism as well. Like just teaching people to like hate themselves so that they need the redeeming power of Jesus, or so that they need to like consume more products and like stimulate the economy or whatever. But I get so worried because if any of these get out on video clips of basically people see my face saying these terrible things and they don't know, it's like, oh well, I have to buck up.
Might help the
Buttercup.
podcast.
Okay. So that's what we've got. And
we might get a bunch of Rogan fans or something to really ruin it.
All of a sudden we grow super big and get a huge Patreon because people are like,
they're finally speaking sense. Chico's and Talbots. Okay, this is great.
Talbots, yes, or Chico's, but is that really a thing anymore? I don't know.
Definitely.
What are the mom things at the mall now?
Macy's.
The
alt-right finds
but
you.
Hallie would say Macy.
Not every suggestion is good. That's okay. We can thread that needle. Actually, I have an idea about that one of I think Hallie can just be like, she would just be like, what is this? What does it even mean? I don't get this whole pronoun thing. And I have a stupid idea about that. If you're not comfortable, okay, Hallie can just quote real life Indiana Lieutenant Governor candidate Slimeball Micah Beckwith, who said he'll fire any of his staff who put their pronouns in emails if he is elected. Oh my God.
Wait, wasn't it the governor of Indiana that we just saw in that Will Ferrell movie who was super anti-trans?
Yeah.
You know that Will Ferrell movie where Will is doing a road trip with his friend who was a writer on SNL and they were really tight and who transitioned. And
it was so clear that the governor wanted to be like cool by being
like Will Ferrell's at a Pacers game or whatever. And the governor comes up to Will Ferrell and Will's friend, who is a trans woman. And the governor was like trying to act cool around them, but then is very like legislatively like anti-trans.
And then when Will was like, my friend just came out and they're transitioning or something, the guy's face is like,
you see the Indiana governor be like, it feels really icky. But
okay, these are great. Do you wanna jump into it? And if everybody got a bingo card, if you want to play bingo, it's kind of hard for us to keep track of that in real time. So just police yourselves.
So are we going to do the getting mega with high? Are we going to do on a Sunday?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. We can do it
whenever. Maybe we can do it next Sunday. The problem is we could get 4 and then like lose one.
Yeah. I think if we hit it, we should just do it. Like if we can get to 420, we'll just do it.
Okay. But we've gotten so close and then we lose ground because Hallie says dumb shit. See? Okay. You want to go? Are you rolling?
This is funny, Colin. This has actually had a kind of a bit in this regard, so that's great. Virginia's not here today, I don't think. So if somebody wants to, maybe we can have like a general chat about like, does this one count? And we'll see what the quorum.
Or does somebody want to?
If somebody wants to be the ref.
Somebody here want to call out the bingo things as they happen? Ooh, rehearsals for what? Ooh.
Yeah, Virginia's doing a play.
Ooh. Where does Virginia live?
She just moved to Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's so cool. Man, I keep hearing all this cool stuff about who was just telling us that.
About Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that there's like more acting over.
Yeah, there's a lot of work happening in Pennsylvania. Okay. Let me make sure I record this, which I am doing. And we can get going.
We are gonna.
Don't forget to talk like Hallie.
Yeah, no kidding. Caitlin says, "Come to PA." Have we done a show in PA? I would definitely do PA.
No, we haven't. Maybe Philly. We know improv.
I love Philly. I used to do inner city missions in Philadelphia. But we are going to be in New York. We're going to be in New York December 10th. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, but not doing a mega show.
No, but we're doing a show in New York. If you want to come to a show and hang out and
we should do a DC show or a Maryland show.
Well, should we do a mega
in New York in December? Maybe we could do a mega show like that Thursday or Friday or something. Oh, maybe we just do that. Maybe we do the Wednesday show and then do a mega show on like Friday and Saturday or something.
At the same theater we did the last mega in New York?
Yeah, maybe.
What was that called?
That was a cool space. I forget the name of it.
That was a cool space.
Talk into your microphone, please.
Test, check. Here we go.
It was called. Wasn't Bell House last time? Oh, the survey about the mega trip. We are still kind of
I want
talking
to do
about
that
it.
so bad.
It's a kind of a cool idea where you basically just like do a trip and like it's just all mega listeners. Is it with this company called Trova? We kind of couldn't figure out we couldn't
She was
get
being
quite enough like
shifty.
responses from the survey, so I think we would do that. Maybe we should just pick it and then get it, because I think the groups are small. It's like 10 people.
It would be so fun. We got a lot of interest, but she kept moving the woman from the company kept moving the goalposts of what we had to have.
No,
We got enough.
We got enough, but it wasn't enough like people saying they wanted to do it. Do you know what I mean? It was like they responded to the survey, but it was like you needed like a certain number of people for a certain trip.
Kristen needs a trip without her children. So do I. So Kristen, let's go. My idea we had a few different ideas, but I really like the idea of Iceland. Forgive me if this sounds dumb, but I think Iceland would be really fun because it's not that far. Like, especially if you're like on the East Coast, it's not that far at all.
Right.
It's not that far. And it has these cool things. Like we could go, I really want to go to those thermal springs or whatever.
Oh my gosh, Kim says she's been on a Trova trip. That's amazing.
Was it good?
And it was great. Okay, cool.
Oh, I should talk to Susie Baird about the Icelandic improv scene. So we're doing a show.
Oh, that would be really fun if we did a Trova trip to Iceland and then did a show while we were there.
Did an improv show there. Like
if
they have an improv scene. We're doing a show with Susie this coming Thursday. So I'll ask Susie.
Nice.
That's so cool. Cause I think Iceland would be dope. Cause sorry, I've always wanted to go there, but I think it would be fun because we would have activities we could do, like those spring water things, the hot springs, the northern lights, the riding on the Icelandic ponies,
There's somebody in the chat that's like, this is not
wearing woolen sweaters. Doesn't that sound fun? No,
sounds very fun. Okay, got your back. Here we go.
Christensen, I got your back. I think Iceland would be fun. Icelandic accent. Maybe we could go to a Siguro show.
Grace's so good at accents and impressions.
Where would you all want to go? Like, I would go anywhere, but I'm just trying to think. Like, I want to do big trips like Bali and stuff, but I don't want to be on like a 20-hour flight.
You know what? If there is actual interest in this again, I should just
maybe.
I should just put the here. I'll put the link. I'll put the link to our survey in here again. And if there is interest, fill out the survey, because maybe we can make it happen again. So let me do that. But while Holly is dealing with the dogs, here we go. How do I do this? This would be fun. It would really be cool to actually hang out IRL, even though the parasocial relationship is also a relationship. But it would be cool to meet in person. Okay, I'm gonna put the I'll find the Trova trip thing at the end. While we keep this hound at bay. Okay.
And on the Trova trip thing, like, does it?
We have one dog, and it seems like we have many dogs.
She's really we're having a hard time with her. But I'd also like to hear places where you would like to go.
Yeah, I'll put the Trova thing in the.
Because I also always want to do Italy. I would do Spain because I've never been to Spain. I'd really love Spain. I would really love Greece, especially the Grecian Isles. Going to the beaches and drinking fruity drinks. Saw me in half. Where else would I go? What else sounds delicious? You tell me. Good girl. Good girl.
Here we go.
Okay. Oh, you're putting it in. Good.
I will.
Nice.
I don't know where it went. but I will.
Okay.
I will put it, or I'll put it in next week if I can't find it today.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Hiya, I'm Hallie Labont. Oh yeah, Glasgow would be really good. Glasgow would be really good, and there's an improv scene there. Okay, I'll take off my glasses so I don't
Yeah.
so I don't get distracted. Okay. Hiya, I'm Hallie Labont, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our mega church a tiny family feel. We love to introduce you to members of our church staff, people from our community, and I always find it to be a treat and a treasure. And per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Please welcome Gray Haas.
What's up, guys? Christ is alive. How are you, Hallie?
Isn't that right? Isn't that the truth?
Yes. And, the other day somebody was like, why do you call everybody guys? And I was like, wow, are we policing that now? You can't call everybody guys.
I mean,
I'm so
girls
tired
love
of-
to be called guys. We've been called guys since we were young.
I know.
And my daughter's like, well, if you walk up to a table of guys and you say, hey, girls, they're going to beat you up. It's considered a, insult. But if you walk up to a table of girls and you go, hey, guys, what would you like to have tonight? That we're like, oh, cool. And
I know. Isn't that fun?
I know. I think, is it so bad to try to bring everyone together?
We're just trying to bring everyone together.
But you're right. Christ is alive, Gray. And when I hear those words, it's like a defibrillator on my heart.
Oh,
my husband, Lance Labont, had a defibrillator this week. We just keep one now in the kitchen.
He had a defibrillator?
I had to defibrillate him.
Oh, really?
Week. Yeah.
He had a heart attack? Or do you just use it to kind of perk him up?
Yeah. Just if he's kind of having a slumpy episode, I give him a little clear pew. And boy, that's one way to, get him talking during dinner, which I know he can do now, because when his mom was staying this summer, he was nothing but the constant conversationalist with his mom.
Oh.
And
what did he and his mom talk about?
That's the thing. I marveled at it, Gray. I just listened to them talk to each other, and I was like, so he can do it. He just isn't doing it with me.
Oh.
They talked about everything, even things that weren't involving sports, which normally I have to, be like, wow, I can't believe it's 1st and 10 again, or, stuff like that to, trying to comment on what he's watching is really the only way I can get him to, grunt in my direction.
Right.
But anywho,
well, anyway, guys, we are so excited to be here. We're recording this live on our YouTube live stream, and of course, we are using Patreon member suggestions to get us going.
So we want to get started with, a real heartbeat of Twin Hills is the giving ministry. We have like dozens of volunteers every single weekend who work the, time of offering, and where we take a time to give our tithes and offerings to God. It doesn't just keep the lights on at the church, but it fulfills all of these important ministries that we're doing locally and globally.
Yes.
I mean, we got a Brinks truck that, pulls up. We have an armored guy, an armed, an armed Brinks guy with an armored truck, because to put our
I like that he wears the bullet, sort of like the cross bullet. What are those called?
Like the guys from Three Amigos.
Yeah, that's really
sort
cool.
Of
a bandolero. Is that what that's called?
A band of bullets going around you. I think at first I thought, maybe he was just doing that for, Halloween. That's funny that the Brinks guy is wearing a bunch of bullets.
Right, but he said these are real.
Year round.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just his personality. I always wave to him and do some joking around with him, because I'm, working toward witnessing to him.
Oh, really? Oh, you don't think he's Christian?
Well, I mean, he's standing outside during the service. So
right. I thought that was just part of the job, but yeah, maybe he does need to be witnessed too.
But the way we handle our tithes and offerings at Twin Hills is like, it's the world-class example of, like, honestly, how churches should do it everywhere. And what we do is that we get up there from the stage during our all of our different services, and during the offering time, we very specifically ask people to please let that plate pass right on by, especially if you
Oh, if you're
are
not,
visiting,
yeah.
please, this service is our gift to you. Please take it freely. This is not for you. I mean, we're putting a plate in their hands, they
Yeah.
have to pass it down. But that being said, we're also saying, please don't put anything in there.
And
Don't.
now it's interesting because we do have the QR codes on the seats too, on the arms of your chair in the auditorium. But we
And
say, don't even scan that
don't
QR
scan
code.
that
That QR
code.
code is not for you.
But it's so convenient that a lot of times people do, and they're able to give their tithes and offerings that way through a
Yeah.
QR code, which is, a lot of banking is done on the phones now. So we got to kind of
Oh,
adapt.
you can tap the offering plate with your phone too.
You
That will
can.
work.
It can be contactless, in fact. And
But we say, don't do that.
don't
Don't do
please
that.
don't.
Let that
Whatever you do,
let it pass you
don't.
by.
And yet people still, they're filling it up. They're filling it up with cash. They're filling it up, with checks,
Yeah.
money orders. They're filling it up sometimes with foreign currency.
I know that's
That's
not
okay, but
advised,
it does, we do lose a little bit in the exchange.
Well, it's
So,
always kind of weird when someone's like puts a bunch of pesos in there and you're like, well, somebody clearly just went to Mexico and still had these in their wallet.
and we've noticed on the leadership team that when Steve has not spoken and given a message about tithing in a long time, the giving starts to go down. And so
Yeah.
Steve will usually once or twice a year just give a little refresher course
Yes.
in why we are called to give 10% of our income, of our wealth, or lack of wealth. If you're talking about my kids, they're complaining about having to tithe because they're like, I'm already being taxed by the government, and I'm only making, $12 an hour as it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, and I'm like really impressing upon all my daughters and upon my son Gray that they have to be given 10% of everything they make to the church. And we will be good stewards of it. And by doing that, by giving the church 10%, you're also being a good steward of your money, because guess what, how much money you'd have without God? Zero. You wouldn't
Right.
even have a life. You wouldn't even have a planet. So just give him 10%. And this past Sunday, we had our regular tithes and offering message, because people really need to be reminded of the thinking, the theory, the philosophy, if you will, of tithing, and why it was so important to the heart
Yes.
of Jesus.
Because I mean, think about that early church. They needed 10% because they didn't even have churches yet. They were needing the 10% to build, their awesome churches that they probably had and things like that. They didn't just want to sit around in a sheep pasture or something like that. So they needed. I'm sure Jesus was even thinking at that time, how do we make this a thing that people want to come to and spend their Sunday afternoon? Or in that time, I think they did a different day, but none of that matters. He was saying 10%, that's minimum. That's minimum.
Yep.
And I think it was interesting because this year, Steve has upped the tithe because, and he's like, this isn't political, but he's like,
well, cost of living raises.
well, he was like, blame Biden.
Yeah.
Because inflation's going crazy. And now we have to do 10.8%. And I didn't see a single person bat an eye, because they were like, yes, this is right. Because inflation is crazy, and we all know it's one person's fault. And then I think, even though we have tax exempt status, I think it's good to remind people of that.
Tithing is a spiritual practice, like praying. And you know how sometimes, as we think about prayer, and as we learn about prayer, and as we continue in a practice of being constantly in prayer, we learn that sometimes prayer doesn't change the heart of God, right? But guess whose heart it changes? You. Sometimes prayer doesn't change things, but it changes you. And guess what? Tithing, you might think, oh, 10% of my income is only, let's say $100 a week, $400 a month that you're given to Twin Hills. That is a spiritual practice. It doesn't matter that if you're only giving $100 per Sunday, or hey, $5 per Sunday, or $10 or whatever. It doesn't matter, because the work is being done on your heart. It reminds me of the widow's mite. Are you okay, Gray?
I'm sorry. I was praying.
Awesome.
What?
It looked like you were napping. I'm glad it was praying.
I am a little bit. I was praying, but I was praying because I was praying for sleep actually, because we've just had such an issue with. I'm not sure if I've mentioned him before, but my friend Clay Mason Bannerman's neighbor,
Donovan Geo.
he's been keeping everyone up, and
Up at night? What do you mean?
well, he's got this new project that he's calling that it's just this. He's basically running an illegal nightclub, I think, out of his house, out of his dome house.
What?
He's got this thing. He's calling it the Boom Boom Room, and it's just like,
no,
and
it grieves
in
the
the
heart of
middle of the
God.
night, all you hear is boom, 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 boom. And we cannot get him to, and they lock the gate, they lock the doors, they close on the, I mean, the wind, there's not really too many windows. There's a bunch of skylights, and they black all those out. And I just said, Clay, how do we get rid of this guy? Because he's clearly a menace to society.
Yep.
And so, and I'm like, why do you need to have a club? Why do you need to open a club if you already have you already have a lot of money? You have the geo fortune. I mean, you don't need to be making money. He says, not for money, it's for fun. And he'll walk in and be like, who's gonna boom in the boom boom room? And I'm like, what? You can't do a catchphrase for your own club. It's stupid. Anyway, so sorry. I was just praying that something would happen to change that. Maybe the boom boom room gets shut down by the city, which is possible since I've contacted them, or maybe he just chokes and has to take a time out. And by take a time out, I mean, like, maybe not. I don't wish death on anybody, but I just wish he would be kind of incapacitated in a way that he would just quiet down and put on some pants.
I mean, I can't wait for our first day where the temperature hits below 0. Because if that doesn't get this guy to put on some pants, I don't know. I feel
Oh,
like
it won't.
he might have some kind of disorder, some disordered thinking or something.
Oh, he says he's got fur ones.
Fur Y fronts?
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'm going to have to read some Psalms. I can't even. I think that you are being tested. Remember when Satan took Jesus up to a high place and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and he tempted Christ? I feel like you are being put through your paces as a man of God. God is testing your limits with this man, Donovan Geo, and his catchphrases and his boom boom room and his, cowboy butts drive me nuts and all the other disgusting things that come out of his mouth.
And I don't want to deal with any of that.
Well, I'm going to put you on the top of my prayer list.
Recently, Hallie, I played a new. Have you ever done VR, like the Oculus?
Oh yeah, sure. My kids love VR.
There's a Christian video game company that they sent me an Oculus. They were like, "Hey, can you try out some of these new kind of VR Christian video games?" One was awesome. It was just like it was kind of like a Deal or No Deal type setup, but it was just the devil taking. You're standing there and you're looking out, and it just takes you to all the kingdoms of the world, and then it's just kind of saying like, do you take it or do you not? And it was cool. I mean, the graphics were amazing. I don't know really what the game was because it actually wouldn't let you take it. You had to, go with Jesus. But it was really cool. I mean, what they're doing with VR.
I get a little confused sometimes with that story of Jesus being tempted by Satan in the desert because here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
So Satan shows Jesus all the kingdoms of the world, and he says, all of this can be yours if you bow down and worship me. Am I right?
Right.
Well, here's what I want to know is why didn't Jesus just start laughing hysterically? Because I would be like, these aren't your kingdoms to give, kiddo. Get down, get behind me, babe, because these are mine. I mean, God made planet Earth. All the kingdoms of the world belong to God. We know that God is going to win the final battle someday.
Right.
Even though God is outside of time, somehow he's still waiting for a point in time. But that doesn't anyway, but also it hurts my brain because if Satan is offering Jesus all the kingdoms of the world, then that means that all the kingdoms of the world are ostensibly belonging to Satan, which would mean that Satan is in charge, which, it feels like that a lot of times. I'll tell you what, as an earthling, I'll say it does feel like he's in charge a lot of the time, especially if you look at the stuff coming out of Hollywood and all that. But also, like, so first of all, Jesus didn't start laughing. So maybe
Well,
Satan does have power, which also then it makes me say, why, if when Satan caused such a terrible offense in heaven that he had to be cast out, Lucifer, morning star, had to be cast out of heaven because he was questioning the authority of God. God can't take any amount of like insurrection, or wait, insurrection is good, right? God
yeah.
can't take any rebellion.
Yep.
Is that what it is? And so God can't take any rebellion or resistance or any of that stuff. And so God casts him out. Here's my big question. Why did God cast Satan, Lucifer, Morningstar, to planet Earth? If the earthlings are the object of God's greatest affection, he's totally obsessed with us. He wants our worship all the time, thinks about us constantly, killed his son so that he could be perfectly bonded with us in like pure, sinless unity for all time, is how much he loves us. He's so totally obsessed with us. He just wants to be with us all the time, to the point where he killed his kid. Sorry, I already said that. But why then would he send Lucifer, this I want to call him a really bad word, but I'm going to try to control myself here, but this
I mean, he's a
bell
butt.
end. I mean, he's a bell end.
What is
Satan.
that?
He's
Something that Ted said?
yeah, Ted said, I learned some things from my kid Ted, which I got to talk about with you in a second, because I
Wait,
do need your advice as a godly man on an issue with the Ted thing that has come up. But I just want to finish this thing to say, why would God send a bad, jilted,
but a butt. He's just a butt.
he's a butt. Why would he send him to rule planet Earth if we are the ones God obsessively loves and wants to be with? Then why did he send his bad guy here to torment us and put sin and boobs in our face all the time?
Hallie, I've got your answer, and you've already gone so far away from the simplest answer. And, I always like to say the simplest answer is the best one.
Yep.
And I'll just give you a story from IRL, my real life, about something that happened to me the other day.
Ooh.
And I hate to bring it up, but it's about Donovan Geo again.
Oh, it grieves the heart, I guess.
So the other day, well, we're in our living room. I think Clay and I were watching we were probably watching America's Got Talent because we enjoy that. Well, Clay likes it. I don't really. I just don't think most of America doesn't have a lot of talent. So,
what do you want to watch?
Well, I want to watch Australia's Got Talent, but we don't have that on the package. So anyway, we're sitting there, and I'm trying to just tune in, and suddenly I hear this.
Chewing noises?
And I'm like, what is that? Look at Clay. He's not eating anything. Look to my right.
Popsicles there?
Popsicles is asleep in his Pikachu costume. Look around, like, what? Up from behind the sectional, Donovan Geo.
Oh, he's in the house?
And he's eating my Bucky Crisps.
Oh, no.
And he goes,
It happens every day.
Want some? And I'm like, first off, how did you get in here?
That's breaking
Those
and
are my
entering.
crisps that I ordered especially from Australia because they're made of pigskin and they're not,
pure protein?
Yes. And then he's offering me my own thing. And this, Hallie, is exactly what the devil did to Jesus. He's offering something that's not his.
Okay. Right.
And I think that's just everything you need to know about Donovan Geo.
That's all I need to know.
And about the devil in this situation.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense, folks, but guess what? Jesus did not pick educated people to follow him. He picked everyday normos, except for Matthew. I think Matthew was a doctor, which seems like a little bit elite.
I thought you were talking about people today, and I was like, well, I think pretty educated, Hallie.
But I do want to ask you, speaking of my
I mean, I have a master's degree.
What?
Yes.
Great. You have a master's in divinity?
No. I have a master's in biblical worship. I think it's a master's in biblical worship module. It's a module, I guess. It's not really a master's, but I call it a master's because it is. I am a MA, which is a master's of. It's a module. I have a module.
Well, one of
I
my
got a training module. I
from
got a
where? What school did module you?
what?
What school?
Oh, right.
Bethel Music?
No. This was part of the Evangelical Association of Australia and the Greater Oceanic um, Worship Leaders Training Conference,
Great
where
Oceanic
yeah, where it was one of the first modules I did. It was over 2 weekends and about 12 hours of instruction, and so I guess going back to, I'm pretty educated. Anyway, I have a module. I mean, a master's degree. Yeah.
Well, I am, by saying that, Jesus did not pick educated men, I am not saying that Christianity and the story of the gospel is not rigorous intellectually.
Right.
It really is. But sometimes I agree with you that the simplest answer
Is the best.
is the best answer.
Yes.
And that's what that movie with Jodie Foster was like, where she went to space and talked to her dad.
Oh, I thought you talked about the one where she locked herself in a room and couldn't stop screaming.
I think that's the same movie.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, I just wanted to ask your advice. Speaking of my tick kid, my teen in Christ service, my ticks kid who comes, this past summer, I had a tick kid from Poland, Ted, who, he was a crowd favorite. All my friends loved him. My kids' friends loved him. My kids loved him. In fact, wait, I can't say it. Okay. I was going to mess up the timeline. I can't reference Barb, right?
No, because that's already happened.
But I wanted to ask your advice because one of my daughters wants to go visit Ted in Poland and said that she's raised the money herself by doing a lot of pipe fitting. And so she raised the money, but I was like,
Ted did a lot of pipe fitting when he was here.
I'm sure he did, because they started welding together.
Right.
She's part of the welding union, the pipe fitters union. She's into all that stuff. She's wearing Dickies and she's wearing Carhartts, and like the fabric is so thick, you couldn't even kill her with a bow and arrow if you wanted to. On all these, onesies and overalls she's wearing. Any hoodles. She wants to go to Poland, and
you're not going to go to Poland, right? You're not going to send it to Poland.
Well, I was like, honey, what's going on here? Did you like what you saw? I mean, Ted had a 5 o'clock shadow for a teen boy. I mean, he's virile. Are we allowed to say that?
Probably not. But
and she's got forearms like Popeye. She's a strong girl. She can do pull-ups and push-ups.
Right. Which daughter is this?
This is the one who is best friends with Brandy, always having tickle fights. I was worried if I saw her hanging out with another girl who looked like her. If my daughter hung out with somebody who looked like her, I'd be concerned. And so I said, do you kind of have a soft spot in your heart for Ted, honey?
Oh,
and
okay.
She said, no,
a little
no.
summer crush.
Yeah. I said, did are you interested maybe in tasting his pierogies or whatnot?
I don't know, Hallie. I just don't think it's a good idea, especially because I have a hard time seeing that daughter really be into Ted, since she's, could easily break him in half if she picked him up and, toss him. It's just, she's very strong.
Yeah, and he's a rock climber, remember?
Yeah, but
so he can climb up the side of a perfectly vertical surface like he's a spider.
Right,
I mean,
but he's slight.
he's sort of slight, but he does have lats and traps and these neck ones and the things like that the gladiator guys have.
Well, they're
He
not that
does
big.
have those, but he's still, I could pick him up
Yeah.
myself, if I just wrap my arms around him, I could, he's a guy who could jump on your back and you could carry him around piggyback. You
Yeah.
couldn't do
I
that
don't know
with
why
all
you would do
men.
that. But I think the thing is, Hallie, your daughter, she's in high school. She doesn't need to be going to Poland to see, even though he is Christian with hope. And even though he was a great addition to the Tick Summer program, I just think it's not good to send your kid abroad unless it's under a missionary type program.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one thing if you send her to Rwanda or something to go tell the story of Christ, or Uganda,
Right.
or
Right.
the Congo,
Or Gaza. I was like, if it's missions, you can go anywhere.
yeah,
I'll
but
send you
don't
to
send it to Poland.
I'll send her to the middle of the Sahara Desert. I'll send her to the middle of Beirut. I'll send her anywhere she wants to go because you know what? God will protect her.
Yeah.
She can go into these, bomb zones. But I'll tell you where she's not going to go.
No.
She's not going to go to LA. She's not going to go to
No.
New York.
And she's not going to go to Europe by herself in high school.
Well, not to France, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe even Germany, because I heard that Germany's got these. I'll just call them dance clubs, but what's happening inside is dancing without your clothes on.
You should see what happens
intimately with other people in groups.
That's what I'm worried Donovan Geo is up to with the Boom Boom Room.
Oh, it grieves the heart of God. Well, any hoodles, my husband Lance Labont said, as long as she's staying in a place where she can't sleep in the same room with Ted, if his family has a room for her and she's paying for it,
Well,
Lance said she could
I
go.
think they all sleep in one room in Poland.
Oh, see, I wouldn't put it past her trying to pull one over on me, and I wasn't born yesterday. So anyway, I covet your prayers, my friend, because she's not gonna be happy either way this goes. But I feel like she's making so much money in the union.
Really?
That her tithing, speaking of 10.8% to the Lord, my daughter's tithing alone. That's why these people in labor unions, they're wanting to get paid for their labor. They want to get paid well for their labor. They want to be able to not have to have 4 jobs and stuff.
Like a child could
and I'm
do
like,
those
then
jobs.
don't go into welding.
Right.
But the labor.
And a child does do those jobs because your daughter is one of them.
But these labor unions, I just don't get it. I know they're un-American because it's, people wanting to, I don't know, be compensated fairly for their labor. But guess what? This is America. That money goes to shareholders. It's called capitalism. You know what capital is? Money. So you could call it moneyism. Sorry, them's the breaks. We live in moneyism and the money goes to the top. So get back to work. You know what I mean?
That's right.
All right. Well, let's see what else we got. Because we have some letters we want to talk about. Oh, I did get a message this week. Someone was wanting an update on my dogs.
Oh.
I got my Frenchies and my corgis. I'm a dong person.
What?
I love cats. Nothing against cats.
Are you saying
but
dog?
I'm a dong person.
Are you saying dong?
Yeah, I got Frenchies and I got corgis.
Why are you saying dong?
And I'm sorry, what?
You saying I'm a dong person?
Yes, I got nothing against cats.
Is this like a cute nickname you've just come up with? Your cats and your dongs?
My dogs, my Frenchies and my corgis.
You said dongs, Hallie.
No, I said no. Everyone knows what my Frenchies and corgis are. Any hoodles, they're doing well. They got to where they would eat nothing but catfish because I had so much I was trying to give to my husband Lance Labont. And I have had the hardest time getting pajamas and bagel and pancake off of the catfish because I don't want to keep going over to the specialty grocer for it.
Right.
Now I'm just ordering these tiny little birds off of Amazon that you have to, the
ortolans.
Yeah, that you have to eat with a kitchen towel over your head.
Lance is still on an ortolan diet?
Exclusively. And he
feels
great. So
how do you prepare those? Do you just microwave them?
You can microwave anything. I mean, basically, and even if I'll tell you this, this I'll give you for free. If your drugs are expired, It doesn't mean you can't take them. It just means you have to double them up. And if
Do you mean prescription medication?
yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Or anything like Claritin or whatever. If
Really?
it's expired, it doesn't mean you have to throw it away. It just means you have to take more. That's true.
Okay.
And then I forgot the other thing I was talking about.
Okay.
Anyway, so just so you know, the dogs are doing great. And they're all happy and healthy. I've got them back on kibble and soft food. And I'm going to go out on a limb and just say I don't mind the way that the cans of dog food, the soft, wet dog food smells.
Oh, I thought you were about to say taste.
I think it's a good smell, and my kids think it's disgusting, but they also make fun of me because I think when I'm driving down, Route 22 or whatever out here, when you're kind of in the cornfields and stuff, if you can smell a skunk out in the wild, I think it smells good. Also, like the smell of gasoline and like the sound of a diesel engine. I'm just going to put that out there. Hey, what do you think about the 8 a.m. traditional service? The proposal that has come onto the table of the leadership team. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about
I
it.
think it
Mhm.
stinks. I am so against it, Hallie.
Really? Well, for those of you who don't know, it's been proposed that we start an 8 a.m. service
Ugh.
that has traditional hymns and rituals and things like that. It'll have an older lady singing kind of a little bit flat and, pinning up her gray curls and whatever, maybe an organ if people want.
Yeah,
Singing some of those old, spirituals and
yeah,
hymns and
it's just
amazing
such a
graces.
bad idea. I
Oh,
mean,
really? You're
well,
not
don't you think,
into it?
Hallie? I mean, with this whole church is
Mm.
founded. When Steve first started it, way back in the early days in the bowling alley, he was going, how do you make church for the unchurched cool and not seem like church? And that is how we approach every service. We want people to come in and go, this is church, not this is church. And I really think that,
This is church?
yeah, and
That's
not,
what we want. We don't want this is church. We
or,
want
or,
this is
or this is church.
or this is
And
church.
and I
Yeah,
just
that's it. Yep,
really,
yep, yep.
if the first thing, yes, I know old people get up early,
They do.
but we don't have very many of them in the congregation, and I think they need to sleep in a bit and get hip to the program. If we start doing this, catering to everybody and giving them, I remember a few years ago, someone was like, "Can we have a fragrance-free section?" And Steve said, "No, absolutely not." What is with it's like if you guess what God gave you 5 senses. One of those is what? Smelling.
Smell.
So if you don't wanna smell, if you literally don't wanna smell someone,
Yeah.
maybe you need to rethink about why you're even coming to church. And, of course, that person was like, "Well, I'll just watch online," which is fine. But, I would say we have a great smelling congregation. There is a lot of
That's true.
great cologne and
That's true.
perfume that people use
I
in
would
this
say over
church.
90% in any service has showered that day.
Oh, and used a fragrance. So
Yeah,
how
for
what are you
sure.
gonna
And
like?
a deodorant
Yeah, so
and
we're
an
not gonna,
antiperspirant.
and this is the thing, Hallie, we're not going to just always be catering to some specific demographic. Now, I know there is a piece of that is difficult because, when you're boomers typically do like to go to church, they do like to give money, and they do like to sing sort of like a weird bird sound. And they love to sing harmony that's 1 to 3 notes kind of right in the middle of the register. And they want to sing it to those old hymns that just make you want to fall asleep. I'll say it.
To the old rugged
Rugged
cross.
cross.
I mean, that's not gonna make someone say, "This is church." It's not.
Right, it's not. And so we're not gonna
They're
do
gonna be like, "Yeah, this is church."
we're not gonna do that. So I've been against it. It seems like there are some people that want to do it. And I'm just gonna stand because first off, who wants to get up that early to go to church anyway?
Well, don't you get up that early to lift weights?
Exactly.
Oh,
But that's my own quiet time. My vision of worship is, yes, I'm in the gym early. That's my prayer time,
awesome.
and that's where I can really reflect. But I don't want to get up to go to, and I know no one's saying that I would go to that because I wouldn't. And I actually get a bit uneasy around the elderly because I find them to be fragile, fragile, strange, and confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have too many of them. And I'm like, what are you going to have, like 15 people swaying in the front row? I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I can kind of move in that direction and join you there at that opinion because it's probably right because, you are a man and you're a man of God and you're a man in a position of leadership. And so I respect your opinion. I was open to it at first. I'm obviously not now, because you make great points, but,
Right.
I like old people. So I like
Really? What do you like about them?
I like that they say what they mean and they mean what they say.
But a lot of times they don't mean what they say because they don't know what they're saying.
Well, that's true. In which case, you can act like they said whatever it is you want to talk about. And
Oh,
then you can kind of, like lead the conversation. I like their old stories. I
really?
like to I liked it I don't know, a lot of them are good cooks, bakers. Oh,
There's so
I
much
mean,
sugar, though.
you need to unless you've had a grandma make dinner rolls for you haven't eaten. And a grandma dinner roll that you put butter on, room temperature butter on a hot dinner roll. Well, I would
I
say
mean,
I'm at the gates of heaven myself.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I did have a grandmother that used to, make dinner rolls, but she used to, let them get very hard, let them sit out in the sun, so they kind of turned into little stones, and then she would throw them at us when we were, locked up inside the choo-choo box in the yard.
I wonder, yeah, if that's at all part of why you might feel uncomfortable around old people is because your grandma always locked you in a choo-choo box. Do you think, like,
I
you
don't really
have
want to
some
talk about that, but
trauma around being locked in a choo-choo box in the sun for your whole childhood?
well, I don't think trauma is the way of saying it, Hallie, because I don't really think that's real.
Right,
But
right, right,
I
right.
would say, you know, I would say in general, the aged make me kind of feel like uneasy.
Okay.
And I mean, there is the issue too of young people that are trying to be all trad now. And I like the trad wife stuff. I think that's cool. It's interesting. But we don't need you to be doing all the trad stuff like traditional service, like playing an organ. It just all sounds like a funeral. And
I know.
that's the problem is you have a bunch of old people essentially attending something that feels like a funeral.
Yep, yep,
Then it's
yep,
going to remind
yep.
everybody in the room like, hey,
Yeah.
these guys are going to die soon.
Why do hymns always have to sound like such a dirge? I
Oh, I
mean,
know.
oh, victory in Jesus,
Yeah, I just don't.
my Savior forever.
It's just like always those same 3
Yeah,
notes.
if it doesn't sound like Coldplay, people aren't going to be impressed with the power of God.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, I think old people are cute and they say cute things, and I like that they want to sing old, weird dirge songs and all that. But, honestly, I think it's that it's uncomfortable for us to be around them because they're just reminding us that we're gonna die, which as Christians, we're not. And I don't want to think
Yes.
about dying. We're not going to die.
Oh, I never think about it.
And so, I do need you to put me on the top of your prayer list because I use a lot of anti-aging products,
You do?
obviously, because we, especially as women, are not allowed to look like we are marching with time in the direction time goes in, which is marching you toward your grave. And
Yeah.
anyone who's closer to the grave than you're basically in a panic around because you know what? Jesus is the one who tells us, like, death has no victory. I've already beat it. So
Yeah.
as Christians, we don't
Where's
want
your
to have
sting?
anything to
Where's your
do with that.
sting?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But one of my daughters has been removing all my anti-aging products because she says, like, how, Hallie, what's the difference? What's the opposite of if you're anti-aging, what are you pro? And I was like, I'm pro younging. I'm trying to look
Yeah.
younger.
Which daughter?
My daughter, who has been taking these women's studies
Oh,
classes.
no. In high school?
Yes, you can take
Oh,
electives in high school once you get
sick.
rid of your core classes. And so, anyway,
What
she's
if I mean,
saying,
why don't we have man studies classes? See, that's the
exactly.
thing.
We hardly
It's
know
not
anything
fair.
about men, and we don't get classes about them.
I'm just saying if you're gonna do one, you gotta do the other.
I mean, it's called history. Am I right? It's not called herstory. And
That's probably the cut right there, don't you think? Or do you
oh,
want to
okay.
keep going?
Okay. Do I need to say it? Do I need to give a clean
Okay,
one?
yeah. Well, do you
Was
want to
it
finish
clean?
your daughter thing?
We could cut it there. Brian, if you're listening to this. What was I going to say? Oh, well, she asked me what the opposite of aging was. If I'm so anti-aging, what am I pro? And I said I'm pro younging and Benjamin Buttoning. And she said, Mom, that's fiction. There's no such thing as Benjamin Button. The opposite of anti-aging is not pro Benjamin Button. And I says, what is it? And she was like, Mom, I hate to break it to you, but if you're anti-aging, you're pro death. The only way to not age is to die. So are you pro death? And I was like, obviously I'm not pro death. And she was like, then let's get some pro aging products in here and not have all of women be hating themselves for the only inevitable thing, which is the fact that unless they die, they will get older. And I'm like, but that is not allowed. You have to look as if you are not aging and as if death will never come. And my daughter says, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. And so I'm like, well, okay, I'll get you some pro aging products.
Right. I mean, you can go right back to her and say, well, what about Cookie Velour?
Who's Cookie Velour?
Oh, it's an Australian story. You've never heard about Cookie Velour?
Is it like Benjamin Button?
Oh, no. It was a woman who aged in, it was a woman who aged in reverse.
And it was nonfiction?
Yeah, nonfiction. Then one day she just disappeared.
Disintegrated?
Some say she somehow found a womb to climb back into, but I never believed that. I just thought that she got smaller and younger until she just disappeared.
Wow. I mean, that brings a whole new question mark to the pro-life movement. I don't know. Cut. Maybe her story was the blow. I don't know. Which was the blow? I don't know. You tell me.
Thanks, everyone. Bingo? Anybody bingo? I feel like we had a lot of...
I was looking for a place to do Fruits of the Spirit because I know somebody needed it last time, but I didn't find a spot where I could do it.
Thanks, everyone, for joining the live stream. That was an episode. I feel like we found some stuff in there. Thanks for those great suggestions. And yeah, a little plug for the Patreon. Let's see. We might be one or two people closer just because of this.
Ooh, let's see.
Just because of today. 415. We lost someone. No, but it should be 416. It probably just didn't come in yet. But I
was about to lose my mind.
But yeah, someone dropped because of this live stream. But so
it's satire, y'all.
Thanks everyone for being in here. And so let's see. I will post the
Megan got it.
Oh, awesome. I got bingo, but you don't need it. Megan, if you want to get, or if people just want some stickers, you can also just for tuning in, send us join the Discord and send me a message. I'll throw some stickers in the mail. And yeah, we'll get to 420. We're so close. And yeah, if people are interested in taking a trip with Mega, we'll find a way to do that. We'll put the link up in our Instagram, or I'll send it out maybe in the next live stream. I just need to get that thing. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great and a lovely Sunday. Oh, Megan, if you want to send your pin to somebody, just let me know in the Discord. And thanks for those great suggestions. Long live Mega. Thanks for joining, Leon. And
welcome, Leon.
Is next week the last week of October? What's the date today? I have no idea. Yes, it is. So I think we'll probably be off next week, but we'll be back.
Unless we reach 420, then we could do that next week.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe we'll reach 420 this week and do the high stream. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Do I need to make a new ad for it?
Yeah, maybe.
I'll put on a new ad. I'll do a push, y'all. I'll work hard for it. I promise you.
Thanks, everyone.
Love you. Don't get the Sunday sads. Just be in Sunday. Sunday's great. Don't think about Monday. Fuck Monday.
And on that, we'll see you next time.
I love you. See you next week.